Most learners think hitting the curb, rolling back, stalling, going the wrong way are automatic ways to fail your driving test. I'm going to show you exactly why that isn't true, how to avoid them. Let's go. And the first one, the dreaded stall. Most learners think this is the end of their driving test.
I'm pulling up to the junction, I'm about to pull out, I've left it in the wrong gear, and boom, car doesn't move.
Now in that example, I stalled the car. However, I very quickly turned the car back on, got everything ready to go, and off we go. Now when you stall, there's almost like two categories of stalling. I want you to try and look out for those. The first one is the rolling stall. Sometimes it's safer to, when we stall, to continue rolling the car, fix the stall, and carry on. Other times it's safer to just stop with the brake completely so you don't end up rolling out into a junction. Now you need each of those in different situations, because if you've got someone right up your backside and you're stalling at say 7-8 miles per hour, if you slam the brake on, there's a lot higher chance that person's going to go into you. Now this example I've just done, that is a stop stall. I've tried to go, I haven't really moved, the car's just stalled. In that situation, first thing we do, brake, reset the car, and off we go. Now, stalling is a funny one. I was in the back of a driving test with Becky a couple of months ago. Becky was being examined by the lead boss man driving examiner. And Becky stalled 4 times on her driving test. And I'm sitting in the back, like, even I'm cringing, like, ah! Becky passed the driving test. Why? Because she corrected every stall. She wasn't dangerous in any way. That stall I've just done there was a safe stall. I didn't roll out into the junction, I didn't delay, I fixed the stall and very quickly checked both ways and carried on. There's no reason to fail your driving test there. And the examiner is just the same as you and me. They're not out to get you, they just don't want a dangerous situation. So if it's safe like that, you're good to go. You're going to get away with it at least 3 times. Don't panic. Let's have a look at another example. Okay, on to example number 2. I'm pulling out of a junction onto a bit more of a normal road now. So we're going left. Okay, I've stalled in the middle of the road, clutch down, look around, safe to go, go, fix it. Now that time I pulled out into the road and stalled. That was a little bit more dangerous because I'm actually in the road now. However, there was nothing coming and I didn't slow anyone down, and that's the key. Don't slow anyone down, don't sit there and flap, fix the situation and move on. With that, you wouldn't fail your driving test, even if you pull out into the road. It's all about how you deal with the situation, not making the mistake. Making the mistake's fine, as long as you fix it safely. As you can see, the conditions today are not perfect for this video, but neither is your driving test. And this is what's going to happen if you do any of these on your driving test when it's raining. Now, when I talked about the 2 different types of stalling, you need to decide on the situation as you approach the junction. So if you haven't crossed the line, it might be safer to stop. But it does depend on how close the speed you're going and how close a car is behind you. Now we're going to be turning left here. So this is a really common situation. Lights are red, we're looking, lights are going to change. We've gone into first gear, everyone's happy, la la la. Lights change, keep up, and oops, there's here, what's happened? Clutch down. I'm in first, but I'm going to reset anyway, and I carry on. And I'm okay. Back to normal, all good. Pass driving test, that's good. Or flap, keep stalling, not good, not a good situation. I'll show you that in a second. The reason we stalled, if anyone's unsure, is because we're actually in 3rd gear. But if you're looking at your gears, it looks like you're in 3rd, very easy to get yourself muddled, and then we end up stalling. Now this time, the lights are red, we've got cars behind us, we are in first gear, we're ready to go. Okay, we've got someone behind us, learner. Oh, I've stalled. All right, clutch down, reset, double check around, carry on. Easy. Now there's a car behind me. I've delayed them about a second, but I cleared it up quickly and carried on. Good, we're good to go, we're A-okay. And this is the thing about the driving test, you do not have to be perfect, you just have to be competent and be able to correct any mistakes, because we're human. Guess what? Humans make mistakes. That's okay. And when it comes to driving, they make a lot more. Don't try and be perfect. As long as you can deal with the situations, that's all that's important. Now we are turning right. We've looked and okay, we've stalled. All right. What's going on? Right. Oh, we stalled. Okay. I don't know what's going on. That is not a good sign. I'm halfway across the road. There's cars coming now. They're having to wait for me. That's not a good place to be. I don't know what's happening. I clearly can't fix it competently, quickly. A few seconds are going by. Now imagine you're the examiner sitting there, okay? You're human. Just for a second, you're the examiner, you're sitting there. You're watching this situation play out. What's going through your head? You can't speak. You can't say anything, because if you say anything, test over, game over. How long do you give that person sitting there? You've got cars waiting now both ways. How long do you give that person before you help them? You can see them sweating. It's a bit ropey. It's not a comfortable situation. You're not going to give it more than what, 4 or 5 seconds? And it's dangerous. You've got these cars coming. They want to get to work. You've slowed everyone down. That would end up in a failed driving test, a serious fault, because you're not able to fix it quick enough and you've slowed other people down. It becomes a bit of a dangerous situation. And that's when you would fail for a stall. Hopefully you can see the difference. Hopefully now you can see the difference between a safe stall, a stall that's not going to fail your driving test, and a dangerous stall, a stall that's going to affect other people, scare the passengers, and generally not be a good situation for your driving test. Have you ever rolled the car back on a hill start and thought that is game over? I'm going to show you when it is game over, and more importantly, when it isn't game over. This is a big issue for lots of learners, including the learner I taught, Sam. I'll tell you about Sam later. Okay, so we're coming to the hill. It's a good hill start. This is a good solid hill. All right, we're looking both ways, and I didn't quite catch the bite. Roll back a tiny bit. A-okay. Now that time I rolled back maybe what, that much? Am I going to affect anyone behind me if I roll back that much? No. Didn't use my parking brake. Car rolled back ever so slightly. It's not going to affect anyone, so it's not going to be a failed driving test. Again, it comes down to, how does the passenger feel? Do they feel like you're in danger? No one behind us, rolling back that much, not dangerous. Maybe a fault for control. Now in this example, I'm using my parking brake. It's got an automatic parking brake, so no brake on. Check both ways. Haven't quite got the control quite right. Oh, roll back, just use the brake again. Set again. Okay, and again. Oh, roll back slightly. There's no one behind me, and I've only rolled back this much each time. Still haven't quite got it right. Setting the gas a bit harder. Okay, we're all right, and we are off. Now again, in this situation, you are not going to fail your driving test, okay? There is no one behind you, and you've only rolled back this much each time, and what have you done immediately after? You've pressed the brake, not the examiner. You've done it quickly, you've recognized the situation, you didn't quite get the bite, and you fixed it. Fine, no problemo. And that's going to be the same if you use the parking brake or you don't use the parking brake. It doesn't matter. It's not about have to use the parking brake for the sake of using the parking brake. The parking brake is a tool that's designed there to help you, and I'll talk more about that shortly. Now I taught a lovely lad called Sam. He went for his driving test and he failed. And he failed to, they used to call her the demon examiner. Dun, dun, dun. She's retired now. Everyone's heard of the demon examiner. Anyway, she failed him, and basically he'd come off a slip road and he'd got to the roundabout and it was a hill stop, and he didn't use his parking brake. So he did start to roll back a little bit, and maybe he rolled back that much, and the examiner pulled the parking brake. She was not comfortable with the fact that he hadn't used a parking brake and he rolled back that much. There's cars behind him. If there's cars behind you, that's very bad. And then it's a case of, why aren't you using the parking brake? You don't have to use a parking brake for the sake of it, but it's more, why are you not? It's a tool there designed to help you stay on a hill. It's like, why wouldn't you use your mirrors or a steering wheel, you know? Steering wheel's there to help you go, so use a steering wheel, use a parking brake. If you're not good at using the parking brake, practice using the parking brake. But saying that, if you don't use a parking brake, you will not fail for the parking brake. You will fail for rolling back an unacceptable amount. Now, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we're going to the end of the road. Now this time, imagine we've got a car behind us, okay? You know, when that person they're in a rush. They get a little bit too close and we try and we don't quite get the bite. Oh. What do you think? I don't think that's an acceptable amount. I think if I was sitting there and someone else was driving, I've got no control. How long are you going to allow them to go before you pull that parking brake yourself or press the foot brake? I would say not too long. And this is really important if you're in your own car as well, because the examiner hasn't got pedals. Okay, so they're going to give you even less time to fix that before they pull the parking brake, because they're going to be even more nervous. They're putting their life in your hands. And think, okay, just a normal person like you and me, they just want to get back and have a nice day. They just want to have a nice, normal day, yeah? Ideally, you'd pass. And yeah, they don't want to fill in a load of paperwork or deal with someone upset, having to get out of the car. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, we crashed into you, la, la, la. That's not good for an exam. That's not good for anyone. So how can we help them and how can they avoid that situation? Use a parking brake. Sorted. So hopefully that's cleared up the difference between a dangerous rollback and a not dangerous rollback. And okay, not dangerous rollback is finding the bite. It's okay. You know, maybe 5-10 centimeters, even better if there's not a car behind you. But even if there is a car behind you and you go a few centimeters back, it's not going to fail your driving test. You don't need to worry. This person here, this examiner, is just human. They know it takes time to find the bite. It's okay, as long as you're not going to hit the car behind you. On to number 3. How often have you hit that curb and thought, that, not a good day. Not a good day for me, not a good day for my test, not a good day for the curb. I'm going to show you exactly when it is an okay day, we still pass the test, and when it's not. We're going to the curb. The examiner's asked us to pull over. Here we go. So that's a brush. That's a light brushing of the curb. We've clipped it. The examiner can see we're rubbing that wheel up against it. What do you think? Now in this example, the examiner's asked to pull over. Now that is called mounting the curb. Now that's very different. And the reason that's very different is because the examiner's asked you to pull up to the curb, not mount the curb. And if you do mount the curb and they've asked you to pull up, what does that say about your control? It's saying that you don't know how to control your car next to the curb. And whose area is the curb? That's pedestrians. So they're putting their name saying, you are not going to hit a pedestrian when actually you go on the curb. That's why you're going to fail your driving test if you actually mount the curb. However, if we brush the curb like I did, just clip it, rub that wheel against it, even a soft knock, that's going to be okay. You're going to pass your driving test. You're just going to end up with a minor fault. Quick story, I took James on a driving test maybe a year ago. James is a great lad, really good driver, very competent. He could drive really well. Naturally, some people can just drive well. It's funny, some people you teach to drive and they're really competent. They're good natural drivers and they're also really confident. They're quite easy to teach. And you've got some people that are really good drivers naturally, but their confidence is through the floor, and James is one of these. He could drive quite well, but his confidence is very anxious. Anyway, we got to driving test standard. James went on his test. Examiner said, can you pull over? Because he asked you to pull over at least 3 times. James drove straight up the curb, just boom, not even an if, not even an act, just boom, straight up the curb. And I'm sitting in the back and I'm like, oh no. And the examiner, I don't know what he was thinking either. Anyway, after that, James drove perfectly and he got back and the examiner said, well, unfortunately you have failed because, as you know, you drove straight up the curb. He says, yeah, I don't know why I did that. But then the rest of the test, absolutely fine. It does happen sometimes. The anxiety just gets you on your driving test. I would say that is the biggest reason people fail. By the way, if you are worried about your confidence or you want to improve, reduce your lessons, save some money, you can have a look at my online driving course and test routes. You can get a free test route on there as well. Save you some money. Anyway, James went on to pass his driving test the next time. But the point is, never go up the curb. And if you're not confident with the curb, make sure you practice. I use a little mark in my car. I stand by it. I love the mark. It's great for country roads, great for everything, because I can see where the edge is, and it means I can actually go a little bit quicker on the country road because I know I'm not going to hit the hedge or drive into anything else if I use my mark. You can also use the nubbin on the wipers. Brushing the curb, as we said, not an issue. Don't worry about it. No drama, no foul. Don't have to be perfect. The examiner is a human being. They don't need perfection. They're not looking for mistakes. They just want you to be a safe and competent driver. Now I'm going to take you to the exact roundabout where one of my learners, Mealy, failed her driving test. And it was for going the wrong way. No, it wasn't actually for going the wrong way. It was for going the right way in the wrong way. And I'll explain what I mean. Now, for what she did, I'm gonna have to show you by diagram because recreating it would be too dangerous. And what she did is she went round the roundabout, turning right, third exit using the left lane. Now, you can't do this on most roundabouts unless there are road markings specifying that you can, and there weren't road markings specifying you can. What happened, and it's very common, again, nerves get the better of you on your driving test sometimes. And I even had the conversation with Mealy beforehand and said, whatever happens, if the examiner asks you or the sat-nav says go that way and it's too late, just go the wrong way. You don't get a mark for going the wrong way. But nerves got the better of her. She got to the roundabout. The examiner said third exit right. Good time, lots of time. She couldn't get into the right lane, or she panicked, or she left it too late. Stayed in the left lane and followed the left lane round the outside. Now, there were no cars there, but it's not the point. You cannot go round the roundabout in the left lane, even if there's no cars there. You either get into the right lane in good time before the roundabout, or you leave it and you just go the wrong way. And what's the wrong way? Well, in that situation, it was any way that you can go in the left lane. If you'd gone first exit, she would have passed. If you'd gone second exit, she would have passed. Third exit, no, never follow what the sat-nav says. If it's dangerous, only do what's safe. Now, in this situation, this is the roundabout. We're going towards Telford, third exit. So, fine, central mirror, right mirror. At this point, if I get into the left lane like so, sat-nav says right lane, well, it's too late. I'm now on the roundabout. I've missed the first exit. What am I going to do? Well, I can carry on round, but that's dangerous, so don't. Exit. Fine. Sat-nav says, redo. Sorry, Chris, I've gone the wrong way, mate. Can you redirect? Yeah, no problem. How many faults? 0 faults. You don't get a fault for this. Okay, this is all in the online driving course as well, by the way. No faults. You don't have to worry at all. All you have to do is be confident enough that you go the wrong way. Okay, go the wrong way. Do not try and do anything that would be considered dangerous. And the reason it'd be considered dangerous is because every other driver in the planet knows we don't go around the roundabout third exit on the outside, which means if someone's waiting at a junction and you're on the outside, they're going to pull out because they're not expecting you to go round, which means you're going to end up crashing the car. It's a bit like pulling out on a junction when it's not safe to. When there's a car coming, you don't do that. Every driver knows you don't do that, so they're not going to slow down for you because they wouldn't expect you to pull out. That is how you do your third exit right. Now guys, I absolutely love making these videos, okay? I want to make more. So if you have something specific you want to know, even if it's something more detailed here, let me know. You want me to just make a video just on examples of stalling, what's safe, what's not, let me know in the comments. Now, if you're going to take one thing from this video, just one, the examiner is not sitting there as your enemy. They're not sitting there counting mistakes, looking for, let's find these mistakes, let's fail this person, okay? Their focus is to look at how you deal with situations. So if anything arises, like stalling, that's not even a bad thing. See it as, oh, excellent, a situation to show the examiner I know how to drive. Someone pulls out on you, it's a situation you show in the examiner you know how to drive, not, oh my God, something's happened. Being able to deal with these situations confidently is going to be what gives you your A-OK driving test pass.